Are there any ways you can boost your testosterone naturally without supplementation, just with certain foods or exercises? Is there a way to do it, you think?
If well, from what I've read in the data, if you have a low level, um, like for example, healthy fats. If you have a low level of testosterone and you're not consuming enough healthy fats, consuming more healthy fats can raise your test levels. But if you're dealing with someone who already has normal test levels, there's probably not much you can do to make them go even higher. And I'm not a big believer in supplements, given natural supplements, like magically giving you a high test level. I mean, maybe if you're on the bottom end of the spectrum, they might give you a little bit of a lift, but I don't know anybody that's, taken, a normal supplement, a GNC, that claims to be test producing, and all of a sudden they're gaining 10, 20 pounds and they're jacked. And
What about tribulus? Does tribulus contribute to that, in your opinion?
I mean, a lot of people tell you triple. I mean, that stuff's been around forever, right? But I mean, some people use it in their PCTs after they, stop using hormones to help a little bit. But no, I don't think you're going to take tribulus and all of a sudden get these sky high levels of testosterone. I just don't believe it.
What are some of the key mistakes you see bodybuilders, not necessarily obviously pro level, but I'm talking about like amateur guys in the gym make, that you see all the time or you witnessed before? What are the top mistakes that you feel like people should avoid making?
Top mistakes. So there's a couple that come to mind. It's more of a product of social media, and it's trying to stay probably too lean all the time. You got to give your body some calories. You got to be in a caloric excess to really grow. And I think people want to look really good on their sets, on Instagram or whatever. That's great. That's fine, but it's going to make it hard to grow if you're not in a caloric surplus. If you're, maybe even in a deficit trying to stay that lean. Not eating enough, I would say, is a pretty common issue. One of them is buying into all this stuff that you don't really need to train that hard. Buying into that is an issue. I do think that I do feel like there's a little resurgence now, though, in intensity. I think there's enough people talking about intensity and how hard to train that I do see more people going really hard. I look at these guys at all these gyms, at Armbrush Gym and just various gyms, and how hard they're training, and that puts a smile on my face, honestly, because I love to see it. I love to see these guys going hard. I mean, when I can tell you the exact thing I saw when I walked to the gym at 12 years old. I saw a guy named Mike laying there doing lying extensions with an easy curl bar and 245s on each side, and I was like, man, that guy's strong. And I was born in that environment. I trained with a guy today, and his name's James Bowman, and his dad actually trained me when I was in my early 20s. And his dad was his name was Nick Bowman. He's the nastiest, meanest trainer. And I loved him because he pushed me hard. I always gravitate to the people who push hard. He pushed me hard. And now it's come full circle, and his son's training with me, and he's a straight beast. I mean, this kid's a beast. But I am from that old school where people trained really hard, and I do think there's a lot of people out there that are training really hard now. I don't buy into I don't get into that. Nobody trains hard anymore. That's not true. There are still a lot of people that train really, really hard. They just got to kind of tune out the people that are saying, oh, you're doing too much, right? You never know where the line is until you cross it a little. You just don't. And I don't think people even come close to approaching the line. Like, approach the line, and then when you've done a little too much, you'll know it. But you may be capable of a lot more than you're giving yourself credit for. I think when we're well fed, we're recovering well, I think we're capable of a lot. So, those are just a couple things off the top of my head.